Hello everyone, I'm Ant. Welcome to my bot collection. Last time we were here, we checked out a tiny boy in the form of Kingdom Optimus Prime. I picked that review after leaving things up to a Twitter poll, the results of which suggested that you guys liked a bot on the small side. Well, this week I'm going a different direction by shoving a big fella right down your throat. Not literally. Today we'll be taking a look at something from the tail end of my original Transformer collecting phase, just before I took an extended hiatus. This time we're looking at Transformers Armada Tidal Wave. This big grey slab was one of the later releases in the first year of the Unicron trilogy and was in a size class referred to at the time as Giga-Con class. Some of you may remember the stage on the PS2 Transformers Armada game where you fight this guy. It's one of the most memorable moments of that game because a few minutes before you fight him, you were running around inside him. Back when Armada was starting out, I was kind of losing interest in collecting Transformers. At the time, I'd got into the more complex transformations just as alternators and masterpieces were becoming a thing. As such, 21-year-old me thought I was much too adult for the gimmicky pleasures the main lines provided. Especially as with Armada, there was more of a push towards simpler transformations when compared to the previous Robots in Disguise line. These days though, I'm all in on the gimmicks, and lord do I never want to transform this Sideburn figure ever again. He is staying in car mode. And now when it comes to figures like Tidal Wave, I have a lot more time for them. We'll get into its features as we go along, but first I just want to admire this lad. He fills one of my criteria for a good Transformer in that you can see exactly what he turns into. It's a massive battleship, you can see that I'm sure. But is it just a battleship? Ooh, you'll have to stick around to find out. Looks-wise, he's a pure monolith of a guy. Like some kind of immovable object, except there's no slamming this guy at Madison Square Garden in front of 1 million adoring fans. Colour-wise, he's somewhat muted for an Armada guy, but he's still sporting some purples and greens to break up the greys. There's even cheeky bits of red and gold to mix things up a bit. Whenever I see people reviewing this guy on YouTube, they tend to have the Takara version, which is covered in more purples and darker greys, or they have the Energon repaint, which, to be fair, is pretty rad. I probably should have got that back then, but as mentioned, 21-year-old me didn't like fun. I only got Tidal Wave because he was a big boy and I was all about collecting the big bots at the time. All that said, I do prefer this paint scheme to the Takara one. It just pops a little more for me. Really love the details on this guy. All the tech bits moulded into the plastic are super appreciated, especially on the back, which really doesn't get seen in any mode. It's all nice detail that kind of makes him feel a little bit bigger, like he's made out of more machinery and panels than a regular sized bot. I also love the head, it's all stoic and dispassionate. He's going to swish you, and he isn't going to think about it afterwards. You may have noticed all the wheels on the back too. There's so many of them, he'll actually roll in robot mode. Brilliant. Articulation's a fun time. He's ratcheted up to the nines and sounds great to move about. Have a listen. Maybe not that last one. The legs are a bit odd as they move normally at the hips, but the knees can't bend backwards. Instead they go sideways, which does mean he can pull off a pretty mean crab stance. Head doesn't move, but he isn't seeing anything over those shoulders anyway. I guess I should talk about transformation now. This is where the real fun starts kicking in. You know how I said he turns into a battleship? Well, yeah, he does, and I could take you straight there. But what if instead I pulled him apart into 3 smaller boats? First off, we split him in half and fold his legs up into this personnel carrier lander boat. You can pop open the top and fold out these little seats for mini-cons to sit on. I don't have many though, so I'll have to fill out the seats with these other little guys. Next, we'll pop his arms off and make this aircraft carrier. On its own, this reminds me of a playset from a range like Micro Machines, or those micro ring plane toys I can't remember the names of. And see this darker grey panel here? Well, it's only a flipping lift platform that's hiding Tidal Wave's mini-con buddy, Ramjet. Poor Ramjet. He used to be a main seeker, but here he's reduced to being a trademark name placeholding micro guy. Nice mini-con though. His jet mode can sit on these mini-con ports and look like he's about to take off. And he unfolds in a few steps, turning himself into this quite lanky looking purple fella. We'll come back to him in a minute. His torso transforms into this twin-bowed mini battleship thing, which you can load up with these little missiles and take out someone's eye from 20 paces. Well, maybe 2 paces. You can leave the missiles in place for robot mode, but they're always firing themselves off. Apparently they fixed that on later versions of the mould. Now, let's get him recombined for the main event. First, you pop the aircraft carrier back in between the twin bows of the torso boat. Then you open the personnel carrier and reconnect it back in and clip the legs in place at the sides. And there you have one hefty battleship mode. You don't have to separate the ships to get him from robot mode to this form, so you can avoid the combining steps if you feel like it. The result is one mean-looking battleship. It may not be a real-world battleship, but like a lot of the Unicron trilogy designs, it was like a real-world vehicle, but more aggressive in design. There's mini-con ports all over the place, which is great if you have a whole ton of these guys, but as mentioned, I don't. You only need one for this guy's extra play feature though. Pop a mini-con on this central port here, and give him a slide to activate this turret swivel in action. It's not the most mind-blowing thing ever, but it is fun and it does work in robot mode. You know, if you fancy swivelling his nips about a bit. There is one other feature this figure has that I unfortunately can't show off. Tidal Wave can combine with other figures to form a sort of power armour. He's designed to connect with Armada Megatron using these slide-out claw connectors. This will also work with Armada Optimus Prime too. From what I understand, there's even some later figures he'll connect to. If I ever get any of those, I'll be sure to show him off in a video. I've come to appreciate this figure and others like him a lot more in recent years. There's something to be said about growing out of your everything must be serious and high quality phase. There's a load of figures over the course of 15 years that I missed out on because I was too concerned with what I considered high quality Transformers. The alternators and the masterpieces and the like. Don't get me wrong, they're cool as heck, but are they as much fun as a battleship that splits into 3 parts and can also become armour for other figures? Also, can Masterpiece Optimus swivel his nips like this? No, he doesn't have the guts. I may do a video going over my collection path at some point. That's if it's something you guys would be interested in. Would give me a chance to show off some random bots. For now though, this has been Tidal Wave. I think he's great. I've been Ant. I think I'm passable. Drop a like and subscribe maybe, and I'll see you soon.